Hello, I'm Scott Murray along with Kathy Mottlag. We're delighted to welcome you all to a program called Coming Together. This is a brand new program. This is our initial adventure, as they say, but we're delighted to welcome you all, and we hope that in the weeks ahead you'll be able to understand what we're trying to share with you all, and hopefully it'll be a good thing for all of you to come together and learn from all that we hope to be able to share with you all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Scott. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited about this show that we're doing together because leaders today have brand new challenges that they didn't used to have. So they need insight of other leaders and some of the thought processes we're going to be talking about that's going to help them navigate these terrains that perhaps they didn't travel before.
Well, we met coming together, as they say, that's where we come up with the show, is that we both have individual podcasts and talk about leadership and what it's all about. Mine is Leadership America, creating champions of change through a culture of civility. Because unfortunately in this world that we all call home, we've lost the ability to be kind, courteous, and respectful to one another. So consequently, we hope to move forward in a positive, productive way so we have purpose in our life, but we do it with passion and with just some politeness, as they say, putting all those P words together, but that's what it's all about. And you...
Yeah, Think Virtues has been helping leaders accomplish goals and navigate challenges for over a decade. We've been doing it successfully. So yeah, we're very excited about this whole notion of helping them through both of our processes.
And thus coming together. So that's what we're both doing. What is the one thing that you've tried to do with Think Virtues and in all that you do on a weekly basis on your podcast that we are going to be able to do here as well?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that leaders have is anxiety, stress, and overwhelm in the workplace.
And more today probably than ever before.
Absolutely. And so emotional intelligence has become critical in implementation.
Can you give us the definition that you would say when you talk about emotional intelligence? I hear that term used quite often, but people kind of have different meanings for what it is. Oh, no, this is what it's about. No, well, it's about this. What to emotional intelligence to you, what might that be?
That's a great question. So emotional intelligence is having the ability to recognize your emotions as well as the emotions of others, and if they're negative, then self-regulate quickly. So but the approach is always counterproductive because most people address emotional intelligence after the cat is out of the bag,
so to speak, right?
So to speak. So our approach is to nip it in the bud before it happens. So we
tie that bag up at the top so nobody can get out.
Exactly. So it is not. So the aftermath of anxiety and stress is costly because when you're dysregulated, practically the majority of your executive skills are out of the door. So you can't even see 50% of what's in front of you. So you lose a lot of your workforce's ability to drive all the initiatives that you're trying to drive. So the idea is to teach them how to process and how to understand, process, and self-regulate before things happen.
Do most people appreciate what you've just shared with us, or do they look at it in a much different way?
Well, when they come in our circle and they see the benefit once we've done the training, then they're very appreciative, and that's how we get.
But are they? My question though is, are most people acceptable?
No, most people. Yeah, most people wait until they're like most people think, oh, we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
That's right. There's a lot of pushback.
Yes. So they don't realize it. So they're reactive. Our approach is very proactive. Take care of this before things get out of hand.
Yeah, I just wondered if the response, though, on the receptor of who you're trying to share this with, if they're going to accept it. Yeah. And a lot of times, I think there's way too much pushback.
Yes, because they're in reactive mode. Most leaders, unfortunately, are in reactive mode. If they don't see a problem, then they don't really look to solve it. So we are strategic, and we know humans. we know human behavior. When you're triggered, you're going to react. That's what emotions make us do. However, if you're trained on the difference, first of all, the difference between emotions and feelings, what are they? And how do you look at a situation? What is your perception of a situation, and how is it making you feel, and why, once you dive into that, and really get true training on understanding where emotions and feelings emerge within you, because everybody's unique. I always say there's the only person who knows what it's like to be you is you. There's no one like you. So we're all unique in how we process emotions. So our training is very specific, very bespoke, and very effective.
And what percentage of the people would you say accept what you're trying to share with us right now?
Well, because we get most of our business through referral, so the people who come into our circle usually are very receptive. But if I'm talking to a group of people, probably about a third.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably about a third, which is about right, because, the 20% of the 20 to 30% of the leaders are the ones that are going to drive 80 to 70% of the results.
Got to make it happen.
So those are the ones who are really forward thinking, more, I know I don't see a problem yet. First of all, there's a huge disconnect between what leaders think and what the workforce thinks. Gallup did a report on this, and there's a massive disconnect, whereas 90% of the leaders, depending on the organization, think everything's fine. And just about the same number of people in the workforce disagree. So they don't have the insight. And a lot of it is because of their level of consciousness. On the map of consciousness that Dr. Hawkins developed, it's a mathematical model of human consciousness. And so leaders are usually at about 160, and the workforce is at 100. So there's a huge disconnect in there's a huge gap, and that's what we help close.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything else above that maybe you haven't mentioned, that if you were hiring someone that is a quote-unquote great leader, what are some of the other things that you're looking for in that person? Just their personality.
Yeah.
Lots of good leaders, but we want a great leader, not just a good leader.
Yeah, a great leader needs to have a clarity of vision, ability to make decisions that are correct, and have a strong sense of meaning and purpose. So those are really the qualities we look for and train. And a lot of leaders already have some of that, but it's not crystal clear.
So, that's very interesting. And that's why I asked that question, because I would totally agree 100%. That's what a great leader is. But to me, the ultimate leader, and to me that's above a great leader, that's someone that is kind, courteous, and respectful.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have respect for your employees or those around you or those that you're working with or the ones that you're trying to give the message, share the message with, if they don't respect you, all the information and all the incredible knowledge that you might have as a quote-unquote great leader is worthless.
Couldn't agree more. That is a brilliant point. And I think who you are, how you show up, and how you treat people is first and foremost.
Yeah, because I know some really great leaders, great individuals, but when it comes to being someone that everybody respects as a quote-unquote great leader, they're not always there.
Yeah.
Because they might be able to get things in motion and make it happen.
Precisely.
But it's not going to be a long-term situation because these people are just simply not going to want to be a part of it.
Exactly. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in. It's those soft skills. You have all of the credentials, all of the all that it takes to get the job done. And that's what gets you the job. That's what gets you in the door. That's what gets you into the room. But what gets you from where you are to where you want to go is your emotional intelligence, is your ability to empathize, is your ability to be compassionate, kind, respectful, and courteous, to your point. So those are all the things. And when you're dysregulated, it's harder to be kind, loving, and respectful.
Absolutely.
Because you have your own mental afflictions that you're dealing with, from day to day. And to learn how to understand, process, and let go of those in a proficient way. And to us, it's 90 seconds. You have a minute and a half. Most of the people we work with, when we're done with our training, they're able to self-regulate in most cases within 90 seconds. And that's the key, is to really, how do you, emotions are the raw emotions that occur. Feelings are we go through a cognitive process of meaning making, what just happened, and we assign meaning to the person, circumstance, situation, and that is what gives rise to the feelings. And so if we can rewrite that narrative in a productive way that's not suppressing or avoiding the emotion, that's the ticket. And most people need training on that, because we were not taught emotional intelligence in schools. Our parents didn't know how to teach us emotional intelligence, or they would. So because they weren't taught themselves. So it's a skill that seems that we should all have, but we don't.
How about diversity? Be it race, be it religion. That was always an issue, and in a lot of ways, it's very, very much an issue in today's world.
Yeah.
I never grew up that way. My parents, whether you were black, white, green, yellow, Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, whatever.
Yeah.
That was my parents. They're just a human being. They're just like you. They just happen to go to a different church or be a different color. And that was never an issue with me. And some of my best friends are Jewish or black or
Same.
Hispanic,
Same.
whatever.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
And so it's never, and I didn't realize that until I got to college, how prevalent just the whole idea of diversity was in our world. I just wondered, where do we stand today? Is it, do people understand that more, that we've got to reach out and say, extend a hand at all times, or where is it in the workplace today?
Yeah, I think that every culture is different, and every leadership looks at diversity and inclusion in a different way. To me, what's productive is to look at diversity not as the person's color of skin, background, ethnicity, religion, but really their diversity of thought. And sometimes those very parts of our identity contribute to the way we think.
Right,
because
absolutely.
we come to the table with a whole different.
Well, that's why I brought that question up.
Yeah, so it's an asset. When you have people from different backgrounds in your organization, that's a massive asset. If you have the same people from the same neighborhood in an organization, you're going to get a pretty bland brand, if I can say it that way.
Totally understand.
So,
just
diversity.
Just politics. We don't want to make this program a political scenario.
Yeah.
But even in politics, left, right, what are you, Republican, Democrat?
Views.
It's crazy how it's gotten.
Well, that's why coming together is so powerful, because
Absolutely.
Coming together, we are more powerful.
All of us, no matter where you came from or what nationality or what political party or whatever.
We add to each other.
Right.
We add. Together, we're stronger. Yeah. And so I think
we bring different ideas together.
Absolutely.
Different concepts, but together, the bottom line is to be, to get to that goal. That's our purpose, folks. That's where we're going. Let's do it together in a positive, productive way.
Precisely. That's exactly it. And it just makes you stronger, makes you more powerful, makes you more innovative.
If you had some, and I'm really putting you on the spot here, Kathy, but if you had someone in your office or in your group, in your organization that was not accepting of what we've just shared, How do you deal with that? Do you pull them aside? Do you take them into your office and say, "Hey, let me give you some examples. Have you seen so and so and so and so? Do you know this? Do you see how?"
Yeah.
I just wondered how you deal with that.
Disagreements that are potentially confrontive, always one-on-one. Yeah, and first of all, I would ask, well, what is your point of view? Why do you feel the way that you
And
do?
you're doing this one-on-one as an individual in your office, just the two of you.
Yes,
Right.
yes. I want to understand where they're coming from. I don't want to judge. I don't want to jump into conclusions because I could be misunderstanding the whole situation. It could not be the case. So I want to understand. So first, we're going to have a conversation about why do you feel the way that you do? Talk to me. And through that, whatever comes out of that conversation is what we're going to address.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So it's always, we always start with empathy. Empathy is really powerful in an organization for this purpose because empathy is really underplayed. I know that we talk about it a lot, but it's underplayed. To understand what it means to be empathetic, number one, the leader needs to be humble. You can't assume that you know it all. Humility, you need humility.
So I've got to stop doing that now?
You're very
Just
humble.
a joke.
You
Just
are
a joke.
a very humble leader. You're amazing. So you need to be humble. You need to honor the other person's beliefs because they may not be the same as yours, but they're equally important to them. So you need to honor that person, respect that person, and really hear them out. Hear them, not to just hear them, but hear them with a goal to truly understand.
To change whatever you need to change in your
Exactly.
personality.
Exactly. And if it's something that maybe there's something wrong with our approach, that maybe this is a learning experience, not for them, but for me.
Well, they might bring things to you
Absolutely.
that you had no idea and never thought of.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
Exactly. Because we all have blind spots.
Right.
And we can't assume that the other person's wrong and we're the ones who are right.
Why in this world we should have not confrontation, but conversation.
Exactly. It's about respectful conversation about other people's point of view, about sharing our point of view as well. Because we are part of the equation as well. A lot of people are other people focused and forget about themselves. Our opinion is equally important, but no more important than anybody else's. So we can't forget about our position because that's just as valid. So we don't want anyone minimized. So that's really the ideal situation that's going to push an organization forward.
And the name of your organization is?
Think Virtues.
Think Virtues. All right. And mine is Leadership America. All right. So we are bringing those together. We're coming together. That's thus this podcast. But also, keep in mind, we're bringing you together too as well. We're hoping that you'll come together with us as we continue on and give you whatever helpful information that we might when it comes to leadership and what it's all about. And we're going to be back with more. Yours truly, Scott and Kathy, right after this. Welcome back to Coming Together. Delighted to have you on board. Kathy and yours truly, Scott. And, you talk about the vision of things. I just, let's move forward in that direction. And, what you see out there and what lies ahead, go ahead, share a few things with us.
Yeah, as a leader, our vision is very important. And most
It's a must.
It's a must. You have to have crystal
You've got to have vision.
clarity of vision. The problem with most leaders is that they think that they have a good vision, but when you really dig deep and ask those deeper questions that is actually going to have meaning for the people who follow them, then there's a few critical steps that are missing. So in order to have clarity of vision, we need to, as leaders, examine where our vision is coming from. Does it have anything to do with the people we plan on serving? Or is it grounded in what we think they need?
Yeah, how it will affect those that we're about to serve.
Exactly.
And assist and help and whatever.
Yes, and it should always include the workforce. So it's an empathetic problem. So we start with empathy. Again, we want to make sure that also the leader himself or herself is included in that equation. So but it's not only the leader's job.
Right.
So to empathize is to really understand who they're serving, what problem are they solving, and how are they doing it. And the first step in clarifying a vision is an internal process. To have the ability to empathize, we need to do our own due diligence, do our own inner work, which is what leaders don't want to do. Hardly anyone wants to do any inner work because it's a scary process. They've never done it before, or if they have, it's been kind of messy. But when you're guided through the process in an elegant way, which is what we do, it's really a joyful process.
Yeah, I was going to, and they're probably a little more acceptive.
Oh, it's incredible.
What they're doing.
It's insightful. It's filled with aha moments. It's filled with points of genius about themselves that they didn't even recognize. Because we're so obsessed with pleasing others. We want to sound good to others. We want to show up as a strong leader to others. Yet we don't really take a step back and say, what is all this about? I mean, why am I so consumed? It's an insecurity that we all have. And the sooner we realize it,
yeah, everybody wants to be accepted.
Everybody wants to be. I mean, it's a human condition,
right?
So it's not
understandable, though.
Of course, everybody feels that to a certain degree, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath. Right. So if you have a bit of insecurity, congratulations, you're human.
Right. Well, it's a relationship in a husband and a wife, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or the same type of thing when you're in corporate America.
Yeah, we care. We care.
We have to be acceptive of whatever is being shared with us and vice versa.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that our vision is not grounded in our ego. And it's grounded really it incepts from our heart. So it's an opening and a bringing together of the mind and the heart. Because if you go just with your heart, then you're like, God knows where you're at, right?
And of course, you mentioned ego.
You're dancing in the rain, and it's all good. But you also have to have direction. So it's a mind-heart coherence that leaders need to arrive to, and in a heart-centered way, to come up with a vision that is going to touch others in a meaningful way. And when you do that, your brand elevates exponentially.
You mentioned ego. You have to have ego to be a great leader. But at the same time, that ego has to be just in control at all times. Yes. It can't be over and...
So ego is not bad or evil.
No.
It just needs to be trained to be your passenger,
directed in the right way,
or the co-pilot, not the pilot. So we want the ego to be of service to us, not us serving the ego. And when we're trying to serve the ego, when we don't have a trained ego, we're always thinking about how we look. We're obsessed with how we appear to others and that kind of thing. So we want to really be watchful of that, because there's no way you're going to please the world.
Yeah, and obsessed is a key word in there.
Yeah, and it's just your energy is off. The way you show up is wrong.
Keep it in control.
Yeah, that's how people show up as arrogant when they're not. A lot of people who are labeled as arrogant, when we work with them, they're actually really incredible people, very talented. They're just obsessed with the way they look to others. And so that makes them appear to be arrogant or insensitive. But it takes training. And I cannot tell you how wonderfully leaders open up in a beautiful way to where they go from unapproachable to very approachable and effective. Because that's what drives strategy.
No, totally understand.
So clarity of vision, just to get back to what we were talking about, really has to do with understanding who you are, really developing a healthy relationship with our ego, and seeing things for truly what they are, and dialing in very, very well into what our audience, the people we serve as our clients, as well as the people who we serve our clients with, our workforce. So it's a simple process when you go about it the right way, but if you don't, you're kind of screwed. Because
Put bluntly. Absolutely.
Because then you're always in the reactive mode.
Mm-hmm.
You're always, things are happening, things get messy. Not that messy is bad. It's just it's different. It's different messy when you are
It's really
reactive.
something you shouldn't have to deal with.
You're constantly putting out fires that you don't have to deal with, and you don't start to notice it until things have gotten out of hand. So it's really important for leaders to really start. This is part of their strategy. This type of work is part of their strategy early on, because if they don't, then not that there's no wrong time. Now is better than tomorrow. So the sooner you realize that that you hear about this topic,
Mm-hmm.
because hardly anyone talks about it. At least I haven't heard that really leadership needs to be. Doesn't mean nobody's talking about it. It's just that I haven't heard.
Mm-hmm.
I should clarify. But the minute they're made aware that this dynamic exists and they really need to go deeper, they need to find somebody that they want to work with in this process that is going to take them to where they need to go, and so that they can thrive. Our motto is that it's not enough to just survive or to even do well or be even, have good numbers. You really want to thrive. Your organization can thrive. That's what's out there for you.
Yeah. And that equals success.
You can thrive, be profitable, do good work, have happy clients. Doesn't mean that every day is going to be, rainbows, but thrival doesn't mean that that everything's perfect all the time. It means that you show up and you do what it needs to be done in order to accomplish your goals.
Yeah. As an organization, as a corporation, as a whatever.
And feel really good about it.
That's how you come together as a team.
Absolutely. You may not, perfection is not even a virtue. And it's not a possibility, but as long as you've done all of the pre-work and that you're driving things for the right reasons and you have meaning and purpose and clarity of vision, then that really goes a long way, a long way.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that we'll continue to talk about in the weeks ahead here on Coming Together is just some of the things that Kathy has shared with us all here, and I think that's most important. But I also would, just as we wrap this particular portion up, would like to ask you, if you were looking for the ultimate employee, as the employer, as the leadership head, or however you want to refer to yourself as, in this particular instance, what would you look for as a potential employee, whether you're running a donut shop, whether you're running a 7-Eleven, whether you're running a major corporation that's into the billions of whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Whatever the job, even pumping gas at a station.
Yeah.
What is it that you're looking for in an employee that's going to keep you happy, content, and know that this is a person that's going to help you have profit and show the world that you're a respectable organization to be a part of?
Yeah, very good question. So assuming that they have, of course, first and foremost, they have to be skilled at whatever job they're doing. If they're an engineer, they need to be a skilled engineer. If they're, pumping gas, they need to be skilled.
So they have the education.
They have the education and the skills necessary, whether they went to school or trade school, whatever, or even experience, they need to know what they're doing. That's number one. Number two, that goes without saying. Everybody already does that. The second thing I look for is whether or not their growth mindset, whether or not they believe in self-improvement, that there's certain people who are stuck, they're brilliant, great at what they do, but they think that they know it all. They think they already know. And sometimes they're the leaders of an organization, and if that's So that really is a thing that can be shifted.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know exactly the kind of person you're talking about, and I have some friends that are probably in that category.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they feel that the organization that they're working with, whether it's large, small, corporate America, whatever, they don't feel as though they're being treated the way they should be treated or respected the way they should be respected. They think they bring something to the table, and in a lot of times, a lot of situations, they don't feel that whoever the superior is in that organization doesn't appreciate who they are and what they have brought to the organization. Yes, no?
Let me clarify. Let me make sure I understand the question.
Okay.
Do you mean that the employee that you're referring to, is that the one that's fixed mindset or the person they're reporting to?
No, the person that is the employee.
They're fixed mindset?
Right.
They think they know it all and then they feel
Well, and
that
sometimes they don't feel that they're appreciated.
Yeah.
Or that their knowledge and their wisdom and their ability to make that corporation or that whatever, however small or large it might be, to bring something to the table to help their superior, their boss, their whoever it might be.
Yeah, I think that one of the most important things for everybody to realize is that in this day and age, with all the changes in innovation and artificial intelligence and everything that's being thrown at us, things are changing so quickly. And if we don't change with the changes, if we don't adopt a growth mindset and have the mind and heart open enough to grow and shift with the changes in a productive and effective way, then we fall behind people. We become irrelevant.
And if they don't agree with those, because remember, we were just talking about egos and how they are, and they're kind of arrogant, and they just walk in like, oh gosh, do me a favor. What about those that, whether it's AI or whatever it might be, there's something in there that really what they are suggesting is not what this company ought to be a part of. What about something like that?
I mean, that is case by case.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
Yeah, it's case by case.
How do you deal with someone like that?
Well, you want to understand to see if what they're proposing is valid. You know, it could be very valid, or it could be not the problem they're thinking to begin with. So it needs to, if they're a valuable part of the team, and it's somebody that you want to keep on your team, you got to consider, and we have to consider their opinion. Maybe there's something we're missing, but listening, and maybe they're wrong completely, and they need to be shown. Because if you don't address it, then their lack of productivity. You know, people think, okay, I have to have the right, this person doesn't have the right attitude. And sometimes they do need to do their inner work to gain the positive attitude. It's not adopted, by the way. So you can't tell somebody you need to be more positive, and from moving forward they're going to be positive. That's not something that's transferred from person to person.
Yeah, they don't hear that well.
It's an inside job. We make that mistake. We think that if we hire somebody to come in and talk about what the 5 steps that it takes to be a positive thinker, that automatically everybody on the team is going to be positive thinker. That couldn't be further from the truth. The truth is that having that positive mental attitude is an internal process. We need to understand why we hold different positionalities and how to overcome them. Because if we're stuck in a position, it's usually not correct. We're usually in error, unless it's a moral issue, unless it's an ethical issue. We all agree that we must be honest. We all agree that we should treat each other with respect. Those are kind of non-negotiables. But, when it comes to strategies and driving different things and initiatives, and whether we do plan A or plan B, those are things that, those are negotiable sometimes, depending on what the outcome is, who we're serving, et cetera. So we need to really understand. And a lot of this is taken care of with our approach when we deal with leadership training, because we put all that stuff on the table and we talk about it, and it's incredibly productive to, before initiating something, you really manage all the personalities and know exactly who the players are, because we know how to act. like a good leader. And not everybody is a good leader. So that doesn't mean that the people who act as good leaders can't become excellent leaders. But they need training. They need meaningful training that goes deep enough to the root causes of the issues and not just scratch the surface, which is what typically is done in leadership training because it's cheaper. You know, because it's less expensive to just have somebody come in and talk for a day and you think that all your problems are solved.
Doesn't happen.
No, it's just like, expecting to go to the doctor with a physical once a year and not do your diet, the proper...
Your work during the course of the year.
Exactly, what you put inside your body and how you exercise and, your whatever your mindfulness practice, etc. Those things are all necessary. It's not just, I go to the doctor once a year and I'm good. That's kind of a naive way to approach leadership. And the thoughtful leaders are starting to really notice this because they notice. If you're noticing your competition is getting way ahead of you, they're probably doing something like this, So it's gotta be part of every leader's strategy is to take care of inner work to a point where their vision is absolutely crystal clear and they know exactly who's on their team and what their meaning and purpose is.
Well, the name of our program, as you well know, is Coming Together. You and I coming together here with this show. But I just wondered, what might we share with our audience here? The very concept of what we hope to do in the weeks ahead as we come together and bring them in and let them be a part and have them come together with us. I just wondered, closing thoughts.
Yeah.
What might you share? You've given us a lot of information today.
Yeah.
The two of us have shared different thoughts and what have you, as far as leadership and moving forward in a positive, productive way. So the closing thought, the take home for all of our viewers and listeners today, what might it be?
Yeah, that's a very good point. The first thing is give yourself grace. This is a complex world we're navigating. And so with a complex world comes complex issues and problems and challenges that we need to solve. So what our goal is, as you know, we've talked about this several times, is to not just talk about different notions and topics and thought leadership that we've discussed in so far, but also bring in people who have different insight, different approach on how they go about these different things in their own organizations, so that we can bring light and help the leaders who are listening how to solve these very complex, fast-moving challenges and issues that they will inevitably, if they're doing anything, they're gonna face these things. It's not happening in my organization. That's really a naive way of looking at it. You don't want to put your head in the sand and be caught by surprise. You want to be strategic, and this is an important part of your strategy, is to listen to people who have insight, who have walked that path perhaps before and can help you.
Very good. Very good. Anything you want to say to these folks? Just simply thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in.
Look forward to seeing them in the weeks ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we look forward to serving you.
For sure. Her name is Kathy. My name is Scott. Coming Together is the name of the program, and we certainly hope that you will listen or view the program in the weeks ahead as we talk about leadership and so many other things, about what it's like to just be a part of our daily lives, living together in a positive, productive way, but with great purpose in what we do, so we can put a smile on our faces every single day when we close those eyes and call it a day. We know that it was a good day. It was a successful day. It was a day that we were positive and productive, but also we did everything, and this is most important, kindly, in a courteous, respectful way. Isn't that the truth?
Well said. Well said.
That's it. Till next time, stay safe, be well. So long.